Welcome to the UNC Institute of Marine Sciences in Morehead City. We wish we could have you here in person, but instead we're excited to give you this virtual tour. When we give these tours, we start first by talking about the history of the Institute, and it's one that not so many people are familiar with. And we always start off with a quiz. What year do you think that students started coming to the coast from UNC Chapel Hill? And I'll pause and give you a time to come up with a number and maybe write it down or just have it in your head. So most people are surprised to learn that students have been coming to the North Carolina coast from UNC Chapel Hill since 1894. That is a remarkable run of fantastic experiential education at the coast, connected in so many ways to so many parts of the university. This overhead isn't from 1894, but is from the early days where you would be standing if you were at the Institute today. The configuration of the Institute has shifted a little bit to the left in this frame, and to the right of this frame is now the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. So in our history, as I mentioned, we began in 1894 when Professor Froggy Wilson started taking students to a lab that was at Piehler's Island down the road during the summer. Mysteriously, somehow, the Duke Marine Lab ended up on Piehler's Island. In 1922, Professor Robert Coker was recruited. And in 1947, he had a proposal funded to create the Institute for Fisheries Research in the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and in Morehead City at the site of IMS. In 1967, the Institute of Fisheries Research became the Institute of Marine Sciences. The highlight of visits to IMS is without a doubt the field trips that Dr. Tony Rodriguez and Dr. Joel Fodry tend to lead, taking you out to the amazing field sites where most of our students conduct their research. So today I'll give you a little still figure of the Shackleford ponies and the salt marshes and oyster reefs that are the focus of so much of our work, and walk you through the remarkable leaders who have brought us where we are today in the Institute's history. As I mentioned, we started out with Froggy Wilson, who is a sharp-dressed man, shown here standing in the marsh in his bow tie, which is not far from the truth from some pictures that we've seen. He was then followed by Robert Coker, another sharp-dressed guy, often at the microscope wearing his coat and tie, sometimes in the field with nattily-clad students, a few of whom you'll see in a minute. These two are icons on our campus. So when you're in Chapel Hill, if you look across the road from the location of the Institute, the location of the Department of Marine Sciences, you'll see Wilson and Coker Hall named for these two men. They were followed by a director whose last name was Ellison, who we do not have a picture of, who was then followed by Dr. Chestnut, who's over here by the ponies now, who was followed by Professor Dirk Frankenberg, who was both the director of the Institute of Marine Sciences and the chair of the Marine Science Department on campus, which at that time existed. And Dr. Frankenberg was the director of IMS when I first came. And a fun fact about him, his daughter, Elizabeth Frankenberg, is an esteemed scholar and the leader of the Carolina Population Center on campus, and who works closely with some of us at IMS. So a really nice historical link there. Following Dr. Frankenberg was John Wells, who was director for, I believe, 11 years. And then following Dr. Wells was our current director, Rick Ludick, who has done remarkable things to transform the Institute into the organization that it is today. So we've been incredibly fortunate to have a series of really important leaders, really impactful leaders, whose impact is not just on the Institute, but is seen throughout the university. When you think about student experiences at IMS, you can think over many, many decades, whether it be the 1940s, pictured here with Robert Coker in the salt marsh with several students, whether it be in the 1950s with Dr. Chestnut in the middle with his pipe and everyone in their exciting 1950s leisure wear planning something that was called Operation Scallop, or whether it's the 1980s where some of the people looked a little bit like Magnum PI, but were all excited to go out on the RV Machapungo. There have been students at IMS doing amazing things for decades. So here we are today, an aerial of IMS, an important and fully integrated unit of the UNC campus with connections throughout the College of Arts and Sciences, and in the School of Public Health and housed in the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. It is a wonderful place to work, whether you're a student in residence or whether you're a student on campus who can find some time to come down and take advantage of our amazing facilities and field sites. Thank you so much.